Dear listener, hello and welcome. Tonight, we gently explore one of the most familiar yet mysterious experiences of life, sleep itself. Every night, without effort or instruction, the body enters a quiet and intricate rhythm that has shaped living creatures for millions of years. While we rest, the brain continues its careful work-organizing memories, regulating the body and guiding us through cycles that unfold with remarkable precision. So settle in, breathe slowly, and let your mind drift through the quiet science of sleep one calm idea at a time. Sleep is not simply the body turning itself off for the night. It is an active biological state in which the brain continues to operate through carefully organized patterns of activity. While a sleeping person may appear completely still, the nervous system remains engaged in a highly coordinated process. Breathing, heart rate, body temperature, hormone release, and muscle tone all shift in subtle ways as the body moves into sleep. Across a typical night, the brain cycles between non-REM sleep and REM sleep. Each of these states has its own recognizable structure and brain activity patterns. These repeating stages form the architecture of sleep, and they explain why the quality of sleep matters just as much as the total number of hours spent in bed. Human beings spend roughly 1/3 of their lives asleep. This proportion may seem remarkable, yet it remains one of the most consistent patterns in human biology. From infancy through old age, sleep occupies an enormous portion of daily life. The amount of sleep needed, however, changes throughout the lifespan. Newborns may sleep most of the day, while adults generally require at least 7 hours each night. Teenagers often need more sleep than many schedules allow, reflecting the continuing development of the brain during adolescence. A typical night of sleep is not a single unbroken state. Instead, sleep unfolds through repeating cycles that carry the brain through different stages again and again. Each cycle moves from lighter sleep to deeper sleep and eventually into REM sleep before beginning once more. These cycles usually last around 90 to 110 minutes. Over the course of a full night, most people experience 4 or 5 of them. Early in the night, deeper non-REM sleep tends to dominate, while later cycles gradually contain longer stretches of REM sleep. Non-REM sleep itself is divided into several stages, each with its own distinct characteristics. The first stage, known as N1, represents the transition from wakefulness into sleep. The second stage, N2, marks a more stable form of sleep, while the third stage, N3, is the deepest and quietest stage of all. During N2 sleep, the brain produces distinctive electrical patterns that researchers use to identify the stage during sleep studies. N3 sleep, often called slow-wave sleep, is particularly important because it represents the most physically restful state the body experiences during the night. The first stage of sleep, known as N1, is so light that many people do not even realize they have fallen asleep. Muscles begin to relax, awareness of the environment slowly fades, and the brain gradually shifts away from wake-like activity. Because this stage is delicate and easily interrupted, even small sounds or movements may wake a person. Despite occupying only a brief portion of the night, it serves as the entry point into deeper sleep each time a new sleep cycle begins. The second stage of sleep, called N2, represents a deeper and more stable state. Eye movements stop, body temperature begins to drop slightly, and the brain displays unique electrical patterns known as sleep spindles and K-complexes. Although N2 is not the deepest stage, it typically makes up the largest portion of a healthy night of sleep. This stage forms the quiet middle ground between light drifting sleep and the deeper slow-wave stages. The deepest stage of sleep is known as N3, or slow-wave sleep. During this stage, brain waves become large and slow, and the body reaches its most restful condition. The sleeper becomes difficult to wake, and responsiveness to the outside environment decreases dramatically. Most slow-wave sleep occurs during the early part of the night. If someone is awakened during this stage, they may feel briefly disoriented or groggy before becoming fully alert again. REM sleep, short for rapid eye movement sleep, presents a striking contrast to deep sleep. During this stage, the brain becomes highly active, and the eyes move quickly beneath closed eyelids. At the same time, most of the body's skeletal muscles are temporarily suppressed. This unusual combination an active brain, paired with a largely motionless body, is one of the most distinctive features of human sleep. Dreaming can occur in several stages of sleep, but REM sleep is especially associated with vivid and story-like dreams. These dreams often contain strong emotions, detailed imagery, and complex narratives. Because REM periods grow longer as the night progresses, dreams remembered in the morning often feel more elaborate. Cutting sleep short in the early morning hours may reduce the amount of REM sleep experienced during the night. The timing of sleep is controlled by more than simple tiredness. Two major biological systems work together to determine when sleep occurs. One system is the homeostatic drive, which builds pressure for sleep the longer a person stays awake. The other system is the circadian rhythm, the internal clock that organizes sleep and wakefulness across the 24-hour day. These two forces interact constantly, shaping when the body feels alert and when it naturally becomes sleepy. Sleep pressure gradually increases the longer someone remains awake. This pressure is part of the body's homeostatic regulation of sleep. After sufficient rest, the pressure decreases again, leaving the body refreshed. This simple but powerful process explains why staying awake late into the night eventually produces strong drowsiness, and why a good night of sleep can restore the sense of mental clarity the following day. The circadian system acts as the body's internal timing network. It helps coordinate daily rhythms not only for sleep, but also for temperature regulation, hormone release, digestion, and alertness. One of the most important signals guiding this internal clock is light. Exposure to light at the right times helps align the circadian rhythm with the natural cycle of day and night. At the center of this timing system lies a small structure in the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Located within the hypothalamus, this cluster of neurons receives information about light from the eyes and uses it to coordinate biological rhythms throughout the body. Rather than simply detecting sunrise and sunset, this internal clock helps regulate the timing of hormones, sleep patterns, and numerous physiological cycles that unfold across the day. Melatonin is often referred to as the hormone of darkness. Its role is not to force sleep directly, but to signal that night has arrived. As daylight fades, the circadian clock stimulates the brain to release melatonin. Levels of melatonin typically rise in the evening, reach their highest point during the night, and gradually decline toward morning. Exposure to bright light late in the evening can interfere with this natural rhythm. Light can influence sleep even when it does not wake someone completely. Nighttime exposure to bright light can shift the circadian clock, altering when the body prefers to sleep. Morning light and evening light have different effects. Light early in the day tends to strengthen the body's natural schedule, while bright light late at night can delay the onset of sleep. Sleep timing is also closely connected to body temperature. Over the course of the evening, the body's core temperature begins to decline gradually. This cooling helps signal the body that it is time to sleep. For this reason, sleep environments that are cool, dark, and quiet often support better rest. Excessive warmth can interfere with the body's natural preparation for sleep. Sleep patterns change significantly across the human lifespan. Infants sleep far longer than adults, and children tend to experience deeper sleep during the night. As people age, sleep often becomes lighter and more fragmented. Older adults may still obtain adequate total sleep time, but they typically spend less time in the deepest stages. Newborn sleep differs dramatically from adult sleep. Babies sleep in shorter segments spread throughout both day and night, and their circadian rhythms are still developing. Over time, regular exposure to daylight and consistent routines help their sleep patterns become more organized. Gradually, nighttime sleep becomes longer and more consolidated. Children often experience particularly deep sleep during the early part of the night. Their slow-wave sleep can be so deep that waking them may be difficult. As the years pass, the proportion of deep sleep gradually decreases. Adults still experience deep sleep, but it usually occupies a smaller share of the night than in childhood. Adolescence brings another shift in sleep timing. Many teenagers naturally feel more alert later in the evening and struggle to wake early in the morning. This shift reflects changes in the circadian rhythm during development. When early school schedules conflict with this timing, teenagers may accumulate chronic sleep restriction. Sleep strongly influences attention and reaction time. When people do not get enough sleep, their ability to respond quickly and maintain focus often declines. This reduction in alertness affects everyday activities such as driving, operating equipment, and monitoring complex systems where quick responses are required. Drowsy driving demonstrates how dangerous sleep deprivation can become. Fatigue reduces vigilance and slows reaction speed, increasing the risk of accidents. In extreme cases, brief episodes known as microsleeps can occur. During these moments, the brain briefly slips into sleep for a few seconds, even while the person remains physically awake. Sleepiness itself follows predictable rhythms throughout the day. Most people experience a natural decline in alertness during the night, and another smaller dip in the mid-afternoon. These patterns are influenced by the circadian clock. Even with adequate sleep, the body still passes through periods of lower alertness during the day. Sleep plays a central role in learning and memory. A rested brain absorbs information more effectively during the day and later processes those experiences during sleep. Different stages of sleep contribute to this process in different ways, helping stabilize memories and organize newly learned information. Sleep also helps regulate emotional responses. When sleep is insufficient, people often find it harder to manage frustration, interpret social signals, or cope with stress. This connection between sleep and emotional stability is one reason chronic sleep deprivation can affect mood and mental well-being. The immune system is also influenced by sleep. During the night, certain immune processes become more active as the body coordinates responses to infection. Poor sleep can weaken these responses, making individuals more susceptible to illness and slowing recovery. Short sleep has been associated with a variety of health risks beyond simple fatigue. Research links chronic sleep deprivation with conditions such as cardiovascular disease, obesity, and metabolic disorders. These associations highlight the importance of sleep as one of the central pillars of long-term health. The brain itself undergoes chemical shifts during sleep. Signals that promote wakefulness gradually decrease, while signals that support sleep increase. These chemical changes help guide the brain through its nightly journey from light sleep to deep sleep, and eventually into REM sleep. During REM sleep, the body enters a unique state known as muscle atonia. In this state, most large skeletal muscles become temporarily inactive. This protective mechanism prevents the body from physically acting out dreams, allowing the mind to remain active while the body stays safely still. As we move further into the science of sleep, the perspective gently widens. Instead of focusing only on individual moments of rest, we begin to see sleep as part of a much larger biological system. one that stretches across entire days, across the rhythms of the planet, and even across the history of life itself. Sleep is not an isolated event that begins only when we close our eyes. It is part of a continuous cycle that begins the moment we wake up and unfolds slowly throughout the day. The body steadily accumulates chemical signals that gradually increase the pressure to sleep, making rest more likely as evening approaches. This growing sleep pressure is largely driven by a molecule called adenosine. As brain cells consume energy during waking hours, adenosine slowly accumulates in neural tissue. The longer a person stays awake, the more adenosine builds up, gently encouraging the brain to move towards sleep. Once sleep finally begins, the level of adenosine in the brain gradually declines again. During the night, the body slowly clears this compound, which helps restore the sense of alertness that returns after a full night of rest. At the same time, another powerful timing system is guiding the process. The circadian rhythm acts like an internal clock, coordinating daily patterns of alertness, temperature, hormone release, and metabolism. This rhythm continues even when external cues disappear. Left completely on its own, the human circadian clock does not follow a perfect 24-hour cycle. Instead, it tends to run slightly longer. Environmental signals especially light act each day to gently reset the clock so that it stays synchronized with the rotation of Earth. Light plays an especially powerful role in this process because the eyes contain specialized cells that detect brightness independently of vision. These cells send signals directly to the brain's circadian control center, helping the body recognize whether it is day or night. Morning sunlight provides one of the strongest signals for stabilizing the body's internal rhythms. Exposure to natural daylight early in the day helps reinforce a consistent sleep schedule and strengthens the timing of the circadian system. In contrast, bright light late in the evening can shift the clock later. Artificial lighting, computer screens, and other sources of nighttime illumination can delay the natural signals that prepare the body for sleep. Across the entire planet, nearly all complex organisms show some form of daily rest cycle. From insects to mammals, biological systems have evolved rhythms that include periods of activity and periods of rest. In mammals and birds, sleep is organized into recognizable stages that resemble those seen in humans. This similarity suggests that structured sleep patterns evolved very early in the history of vertebrate life. Even animals that appear constantly active often experience quiet states resembling sleep. During these periods, responsiveness to the environment decreases and energy consumption slows, indicating that the body is entering a restorative condition. Marine mammals such as dolphins display an unusual form of sleep in which only one hemisphere of the brain rests at a time. While one side sleeps, the other remains alert enough to control breathing and maintain awareness of the surroundings. Certain birds demonstrate a similar ability. When resting in exposed environments, one half of the brain may remain awake while the other sleeps, allowing the animal to remain partially aware of potential threats. These remarkable adaptations reveal how flexible sleep can be across the animal kingdom. Although the structure of sleep may vary, the fundamental need for restorative rest remains universal. In humans, sleep cycles typically repeat 4 to 6 times during a full night of rest. Each cycle carries the brain through a sequence of stages that gradually shift in character as morning approaches. Early cycles often contain long stretches of deep, slow-wave sleep. These stages are associated with physical restoration, including tissue repair and immune system activity. Later cycles, in contrast, include longer periods of REM sleep. During these phases, brain activity becomes more dynamic and dreaming becomes more vivid. The shifting balance between these stages creates the layered structure of nighttime sleep. Each stage plays a different role in maintaining physical and mental health. As night progresses, the body also undergoes predictable changes in physiology. Heart rate slows, blood pressure decreases, and breathing patterns adjust as the nervous system shifts toward a more restorative state. This nighttime reduction in cardiovascular activity allows the heart and blood vessels to experience a period of reduced strain. The quiet hours of sleep, therefore, contribute to long-term cardiovascular health. At the same time, the brain continues performing a wide range of complex tasks. Rather than becoming inactive, neural circuits reorganize information gathered during the day. Many researchers believe that sleep helps stabilize memories by gradually transferring them from temporary storage in the hippocampus toward more durable storage across the cerebral cortex. This process does not occur all at once. Instead, it unfolds slowly across multiple sleep cycles as the brain revisits and reorganizes patterns of neural activity formed during waking experience. Sleep also appears to support the refinement of skills learned during the day. After practicing a motor tasks, as playing a musical instrument or learning a new physical movement performance, often improves after a night of sleep. These improvements suggest that the brain continues refining neural pathways during sleep, strengthening the connections involved in newly learned behaviors. Emotional experiences are also processed during sleep. Brain regions involved in emotional regulation show distinctive patterns of activity during REM sleep, indicating that emotional memories may be reorganized during this stage. Through these processes, sleep helps maintain emotional balance and psychological resilience. A well-rested brain is better able to respond calmly and thoughtfully to daily challenges. Sleep also contributes to the regulation of appetite. Hormones involved in hunger and fullness follow daily rhythms that are closely connected to sleep patterns. When sleep becomes restricted, these hormonal signals can become disrupted. As a result, appetite may increase, and food choices may shift toward more energy-dense foods. The digestive system itself follows a daily rhythm coordinated with sleep and wake cycles. During sleep, digestive activity slows, allowing the body to shift resources toward restoration and repair. Metabolism throughout the body is influenced by circadian timing as well. Organs such as the liver and pancreas follow internal clocks that regulate the timing of energy storage and energy release. These synchronized rhythms help maintain stable blood sugar levels and efficient energy use throughout the day. Sleep also plays a role in regulating inflammation within the body. Certain immune signaling molecules increase during sleep, helping coordinate the body's defense against infection. When sleep becomes chronically insufficient, inflammatory processes may increase. This connection helps explain why poor sleep is associated with many long-term health risks. Across society, sleep patterns can also be influenced by cultural and environmental factors. Work schedules, artificial lighting, and technology have significantly altered traditional sleep timing. In many modern societies, people remain awake long after sunset, which can delay the body's natural sleep signals. Historically, sleep may have followed a different pattern. Some historical records suggest that people once experienced segmented sleep, waking briefly between two periods of rest during the night. This pattern, sometimes described as first sleep and second sleep, gradually disappeared as artificial lighting extended evening activity. Even today, however, many people experience a natural dip in alertness during the afternoon. This mid-afternoon decrease in energy reflects a normal fluctuation in the circadian rhythm. Short naps taken during this period can temporarily restore alertness and improve cognitive performance. However, long or late naps may delay nighttime sleep by reducing the buildup of sleep pressure. The balance between daytime wakefulness and nighttime sleep therefore depends on a delicate interaction between biological rhythms and daily habits. Understanding this balance allows scientists and clinicians to better support healthy sleep patterns. Because sleep touches nearly every system in the body, maintaining regular sleep schedules and supportive sleep environments can have profound effects on overall health. A quiet room, gentle darkness, and comfortable temperature allow the body's natural rhythms to unfold without interruption. And as night settles in again, the brain prepares once more to enter the slow and steady cycles that define sleep. Sleep, as it exists today, did not appear suddenly. The patterns we experience each night are the result of a very long biological history. Over millions of years, living organisms gradually developed rhythms of activity and rest that allowed them to conserve energy, recover from exertion, and coordinate their behavior with the cycle of day and night. The earliest forms of life likely followed simple cycles driven directly by environmental conditions. When light was present, activity increased. When darkness arrived, metabolism slowed and behavior became quieter. Over time, internal biological clocks evolved that allowed organisms to anticipate these changes instead of merely reacting to them. These early timing systems eventually became the circadian rhythms that now guide sleep in humans and many other animals. Instead of depending only on external signals, organisms developed internal clocks capable of maintaining a daily rhythm, even in constant darkness. The development of these internal clocks gave organisms an important advantage. By predicting environmental changes rather than waiting for them, animals could prepare their bodies in advance for activity or rest. As nervous systems evolved and became more complex, sleep itself also became more structured. In simple organisms, rest may have consisted only of reduced movement and decreased responsiveness to the environment. In animals with more advanced nervous systems, however, sleep gradually developed distinct stages. These stages allowed the brain to alternate between different modes of activity during the night. In mammals and birds, this process eventually produced the two major forms of sleep recognized today: non-REM sleep and REM sleep. These states differ dramatically in both brain activity and body behavior. Non-REM sleep appears to have evolved first. It represents a quiet state in which brain activity slows and becomes synchronized across large regions of the cortex. REM sleep, by contrast, is a more unusual condition in which the brain becomes highly active while the body remains mostly immobile. The origin of REM sleep remains one of the more intriguing questions in sleep science. Some researchers believe REM sleep evolved as a mechanism to support brain development and learning. The intense neural activity seen during this stage may help refine connections between neurons. This possibility is supported by the observation that infants spend far more time in REM sleep than adults. Early in life, the brain is rapidly forming new neural networks, and REM sleep may help guide this process. As individuals grow older, the proportion of REM sleep gradually decreases. Adults still experience REM sleep every night, but it typically occupies a smaller fraction of total sleep time than it does in infancy. The balance between REM and non-REM sleep also changes across the night. Early sleep cycles contain more slow-wave sleep, while later cycles contain longer periods of REM sleep. This shifting pattern reflects the way different restorative processes unfold throughout the night. The brain appears to prioritize physical recovery early and cognitive processing later. Sleep architecture also changes gradually across the lifespan. Children typically experience longer and deeper periods of slow-wave sleep compared with adults. These deep stages are believed to support growth and physical development. During childhood and adolescence, the body is constantly building new tissues and strengthening neural connections. As adulthood progresses, the amount of deep sleep slowly declines. Although adults still experience slow-wave sleep, it usually becomes shorter and lighter. This shift may explain why older individuals often report waking more easily during the night, as sleep contains fewer extended periods of deep slow-wave activity. Another change across the lifespan involves circadian timing. Young children often wake early in the morning and become sleepy earlier in the evening. During adolescence, however, the circadian rhythm shifts later. Teenagers naturally feel more alert late at night and may struggle to wake early. This biological shift can conflict with early school schedules, leading many adolescents to experience chronic sleep restriction during the week. Later in adulthood, circadian timing often moves earlier again. Many older adults begin waking earlier in the morning and feeling sleepy earlier in the evening. These gradual shifts illustrate how sleep patterns are not fixed, but evolve across the human lifespan. The history of sleep is also reflected in the diversity of sleep behaviors across species. Different animals have adapted their sleep patterns to suit their environments and survival needs. Predators, for example, often sleep for long periods because they face relatively little danger while resting. Prey animals, on the other hand, frequently sleep in shorter and lighter segments so they can remain alert to potential threats. Marine mammals present another fascinating adaptation. Dolphins and some whales exhibit a form of sleep in which only half of the brain rests at a time. This ability allows them to continue swimming and surfacing for air while still obtaining rest. Birds have developed a similar adaptation. When resting in exposed environments, they can allow one hemisphere of the brain to sleep while the other remains awake. These examples demonstrate how sleep can evolve in remarkably flexible ways while still preserving its essential restorative functions. Over time, the study of sleep itself has also evolved dramatically. For centuries, sleep was largely understood only through observation and speculation. Many early theories assumed sleep occurred simply because the brain became inactive at night. This idea began to change in the 20th century with the development of electroencephalography, or EEG. By measuring electrical signals from the brain, scientists were able to observe how brain activity changes during sleep. These recordings revealed that sleep is far from a passive state. Instead, the brain passes through complex cycles of activity that repeat throughout the night. Researchers soon discovered the distinct stages of sleep that define modern sleep science. Later discoveries showed that REM sleep contains brain activity patterns surprisingly similar to wakefulness. These findings transformed the understanding of sleep, revealing it as a dynamic biological process rather than a period of inactivity. The development of sleep laboratories allowed scientists to observe sleep in controlled environments. Electrodes placed on the scalp record brainwaves, while additional sensors track breathing, heart rate, eye movements, and muscle activity. These measurements allow researchers to identify each stage of sleep with remarkable precision. Through decades of research, scientists have learned that sleep influences nearly every major system in the body. The brain reorganizes memories, the immune system coordinates its responses, and the endocrine system regulates hormone release. Sleep also affects metabolism, cardiovascular function, and emotional stability. Because of these wide-ranging effects, sleep is now recognized as one of the central pillars of health alongside nutrition and physical activity. Modern sleep research continues to expand our understanding of how sleep works and why it is so essential. New imaging technologies allow scientists to observe brain activity during sleep with increasing detail. Researchers are also studying how sleep interacts with long-term brain health and aging. Although much has been learned, sleep still holds many unanswered questions. Scientists continue exploring how different stages of sleep contribute to memory formation, emotional regulation, and neural maintenance. Each new discovery reveals another layer of complexity within the quiet hours of the night. And as the field of sleep science continues to grow, it deepens our appreciation for the remarkable processes that unfold each time the mind drifts into sleep. As sleep settles across the body each night, countless internal systems begin shifting into patterns that support rest, restoration, and careful regulation. These processes unfold quietly, often unnoticed, yet they involve intricate coordination between the brain, the nervous system, and nearly every organ. Rather than remaining static, the sleeping body continuously adjusts its internal balance. Signals move through networks of neurons, hormones fluctuate in gentle cycles, and the environment around the sleeper subtly interacts with these systems as the night progresses. One of the most important structural changes during sleep occurs in the way the brain processes sensory information. While awake, the brain constantly receives signals from the eyes, ears, skin, and other sensory organs. During sleep, however, the brain gradually limits this incoming stream of information. A key structure involved in this filtering process is the thalamus, which acts as a relay station for sensory signals traveling to the cerebral cortex. As sleep deepens, the thalamus reduces the transmission of sensory information to the cortex. This helps protect sleep by preventing small noises or minor disturbances from triggering full wakefulness. Even though many signals are filtered, the brain does not completely disconnect from the outside world. Certain sounds, particularly meaningful or urgent ones, can still penetrate this filtering system and wake a sleeper. Within the brain itself, patterns of electrical activity change dramatically as sleep progresses. During deep sleep, neurons in the cortex begin firing in slow, synchronized rhythms. These slow waves sweep across large regions of the brain, creating the distinctive electrical signature of slow-wave sleep. The synchronization suggests that many neurons are resting and resetting their activity together. This stage of sleep is often considered the most physically restorative. Muscles relax deeply, energy consumption decreases, and the body enters a state of profound rest. Later in the night, when REM sleep becomes more prominent, the brain shifts into a very different pattern of activity. Neurons begin firing in more irregular and complex patterns, resembling those seen during wakefulness. Despite this intense brain activity, most skeletal muscles remain largely inactive due to signals from the brainstem. This temporary loss of muscle tone prevents the body from acting out dreams. The brainstem plays a central role in coordinating this unusual state. It sends inhibitory signals down the spinal cord that suppress voluntary muscle movement. At the same time, the brainstem continues controlling vital functions such as breathing and heart rhythm. These systems remain active even as most muscles rest. Breathing itself undergoes subtle changes during sleep. In non-REM sleep, breathing tends to become slower and more regular than during wakefulness. This steady rhythm reflects the calming influence of the parasympathetic nervous system, which becomes more active during restful states. During REM sleep, however, breathing patterns can become more variable. Signals from the brainstem fluctuate more strongly, producing irregular breathing rhythms. Heart activity also shifts throughout the night. In deeper stages of non-REM sleep, heart rate typically slows and blood pressure drops. This nightly decline in cardiovascular activity provides a period of reduced workload for the heart and blood vessels. REM sleep introduces more variability into these patterns. Heart rate and blood pressure may fluctuate as the brain becomes more active. These fluctuations occur alongside bursts of neural activity associated with dreaming and emotional processing. Another structural process unfolding during sleep involves the movement of fluids within the brain. Cerebrospinal fluid circulates through spaces between brain cells, helping remove metabolic waste products. During sleep, especially deep sleep, this fluid movement appears to increase. The enhanced circulation may help clear substances that accumulate during waking hours. This nightly cleaning process contributes to maintaining a healthy brain environment. By removing waste products, the brain preserves the conditions necessary for efficient neural communication. Temperature regulation also shifts during sleep. As bedtime approaches, the body's core temperature begins to decline slightly. This cooling helps prepare the body for sleep by promoting relaxation and signaling the circadian system that nighttime has begun. Throughout the night, body temperature remains somewhat lower than during waking hours. Toward morning, it gradually begins rising again in preparation for waking. The endocrine system also follows a structured rhythm during sleep. Hormones are released at specific times during the night, supporting various physiological processes. Growth hormone, for example, is released primarily during deep slow-wave sleep. This hormone supports tissue repair and growth. For children and adolescents, these nighttime hormone releases are especially important because they support physical development. In adults, growth hormone continues playing a role in maintaining muscle tissue and metabolic balance. Another hormone influenced by sleep is cortisol. Often associated with alertness and stress responses, cortisol follows a daily rhythm tied closely to the sleep-wake cycle. Levels of cortisol are usually lowest during the early part of the night. As morning approaches, cortisol levels gradually rise, helping prepare the body for waking. Melatonin follows the opposite pattern. Its levels rise after sunset, remain elevated during the night, and decline again toward morning. Together, these hormonal rhythms help synchronize internal physiology with the daily cycle of light and darkness. Sleep also affects the immune system's organization. During the night, immune cells communicate through signaling molecules that help coordinate responses to infection. These nighttime immune activities may strengthen the body's ability to recognize and respond to pathogens. When sleep becomes chronically disrupted, these immune processes can become less efficient. As a result, the body may become more vulnerable to illness. The digestive system also shifts its activity during sleep. Digestive movements slow, and the body focuses less on processing food. Instead, metabolic processes concentrate on maintaining internal balance and supporting tissue repair. The liver continues regulating energy metabolism during sleep, helping maintain stable levels of glucose in the bloodstream. These processes ensure that essential organs and the brain continue receiving energy even while the body rests. Muscles experience deep relaxation during sleep, particularly in slow-wave stages. This relaxation allows the body to recover from the physical activity of the day. At the same time, reduced movement conserves energy and prevents unnecessary strain on joints and tissues. Environmental factors can strongly influence how smoothly these internal processes unfold. Noise, for example, can trigger brief shifts in brain activity even if a person does not fully wake. Repeated disturbances can fragment sleep cycles, preventing the body from remaining in deeper stages long enough for full restoration. Light exposure also plays a powerful role in sleep regulation. Even small amounts of light can signal the brain that it may still be daytime. This signal can suppress melatonin production and delay the onset of sleep. Temperature within the sleeping environment also matters. A cooler room often supports better sleep because it complements the body's natural nighttime cooling. Excessive warmth can interfere with the body's ability to lower its core temperature. Comfortable bedding and supportive mattresses can also reduce unnecessary awakenings caused by physical discomfort. Even subtle improvements in comfort can help the body remain in deeper sleep stages for longer periods. Through all of these interacting systems, neural, hormonal, cardiovascular, metabolic, and environmental, the body maintains the delicate architecture of sleep. Each night, these systems quietly coordinate to create the conditions necessary for rest, restoration, and preparation for the day ahead. And while these processes may remain invisible to the sleeping mind, they represent one of the most complex and carefully balanced biological systems in the human body. As sleep continues to unfold through the night, countless smaller interactions take place within the brain and body. These mechanisms operate quietly beneath the larger rhythms of sleep cycles and circadian timing. They involve chemical messengers, neural circuits, and subtle exchanges between different regions of the nervous system. Although these processes are less visible than the broad stages of sleep, they play an essential role in maintaining the balance between rest and wakefulness. Each signal contributes to guiding the brain through the shifting landscape of the night. One of the most important chemical signals involved in sleep regulation is adenosine. Throughout the day, as brain cells use energy to support thinking, movement, and perception, adenosine slowly accumulates within neural tissue. This accumulation acts as a gentle indicator of fatigue. The longer the brain remains awake and active, the higher the concentration of adenosine becomes, gradually increasing the pressure to sleep. When sleep begins, the process reverses. During the night, the brain steadily clears adenosine from its cells. As levels decline, the feeling of sleepiness fades, helping restore alertness by morning. This slow rise and fall of adenosine forms part of the homeostatic regulation of sleep, ensuring that periods of wakefulness are eventually balanced by periods of rest. Caffeine interacts directly with this mechanism. Instead of removing adenosine from the brain, caffeine temporarily blocks the receptors that normally detect it. Because the receptors are occupied by caffeine, the brain temporarily loses its ability to sense the accumulated sleep pressure. As a result, a person may feel more alert, even though the underlying need for sleep remains. Another important chemical system involved in sleep regulation relies on inhibitory neurotransmitters, such as gamma-aminobutyric acid, commonly known as GABA. When sleep-promoting neurons release GABA, it suppresses the activity of wake-promoting regions in the brain. This quieting effect allows the transition from alertness into sleep to occur smoothly. Within the hypothalamus, specialized groups of neurons help coordinate this transition. These neurons act almost like a switch that shifts the brain from wakefulness into sleep. When these sleep-promoting neurons become active, they inhibit systems that normally maintain alertness. As the inhibition strengthens, the brain gradually moves deeper into sleep. At the same time, other neurotransmitters that promote wakefulness decrease in activity. Chemicals such as dopamine, norepinephrine, and histamine play important roles in maintaining alertness during the day. During sleep, the activity of these neurotransmitter systems declines. This reduction allows sleep-promoting mechanisms to dominate the brain's activity. Another molecule involved in maintaining wakefulness is orexin, also called hypocretin. Orexin-producing neurons help stabilize the boundary between sleep and wakefulness. When these neurons function normally, they help maintain alertness during waking hours. When the orexin system becomes disrupted, sudden transitions between wakefulness and sleep can occur. Within the brain's cortex, sleep involves coordinated communication between billions of neurons. During slow-wave sleep, these neurons tend to fire together in large synchronized patterns. These synchronized bursts create the slow electrical waves that define deep sleep. The coordination suggests that neurons are resetting their activity patterns after a day of complex processing. During REM sleep, this synchronization disappears. Neurons begin firing in a more scattered and irregular pattern. This pattern resembles the activity seen during wakefulness, which helps explain why dreams can feel vivid and dynamic. Communication between different brain regions also shifts during sleep. The hippocampus, which temporarily stores new memories, interacts closely with the cortex during certain stages. Signals move back and forth between these regions as the brain gradually stabilizes information learned during the day. These interactions may help transfer memories from short-term storage toward more permanent neural networks across the cortex. This process does not occur all at once. Instead, memory traces appear to be replayed repeatedly during sleep cycles. As these replays occur, the connections between neurons may strengthen, making the memories easier to recall later. Sleep also appears to help regulate emotional memories. Brain regions associated with emotional responses remain active during REM sleep. This activity may help process experiences that carried emotional significance during the day. Some scientists believe that this process allows the brain to reduce the emotional intensity of certain memories while preserving the informational content. In this way, sleep may support emotional balance by helping the brain reorganize experiences. The prefrontal cortex, which helps regulate decision-making and reasoning, behaves differently during sleep. During REM sleep, activity in this region tends to decrease compared with wakefulness. This reduction may explain why dreams often contain unusual or illogical elements. Without the usual oversight of the prefrontal cortex, the dreaming mind can create imaginative and sometimes surreal scenarios. Meanwhile, visual areas of the brain become more active during REM sleep. These regions generate the images that appear in dreams. Because the brain's sensory input from the outside world is reduced during sleep, these internally generated signals can dominate the mind's experience. The amygdala, a region involved in emotional processing, also becomes highly active during REM sleep. This heightened activity may contribute to the strong emotional tone that many dreams contain. Sleep also influences how the brain responds to stress. Adequate sleep helps maintain balanced communication between emotional centers and regulatory regions of the brain. When sleep is insufficient, emotional centers such as the amygdala may become more reactive. This heightened sensitivity can make stressful events feel more intense or difficult to manage. Sleep also affects the brain's ability to concentrate and sustain attention. Even modest sleep restriction can slow reaction time and reduce the ability to maintain focus on tasks for extended periods. This decline occurs because sleep deprivation disrupts communication between neural networks involved in attention. Another small but important process occurring during sleep involves synaptic regulation. Throughout the day, neural connections strengthen as new information is learned and experiences accumulate. Sleep appears to help rebalance these connections by selectively strengthening important pathways while weakening less useful ones. This rebalancing may prevent the brain from becoming overloaded with excessive neural signaling. The result is a more efficient network of connections ready for the next day's learning. The brain also regulates energy use during sleep. While overall metabolic demand decreases slightly, certain neural processes continue requiring energy. Glucose and oxygen continue circulating through brain tissue, supporting the neural activity that occurs during sleep stages. These metabolic adjustments help maintain stable brain function throughout the night. Another mechanism involves the regulation of body movement. As sleep deepens, muscle tone gradually decreases. This reduction helps prevent unnecessary movement during rest. During REM sleep, signals from the brainstem suppress muscle activity even further. This temporary paralysis ensures that dreams remain mental experiences rather than physical actions. Although most muscles become inactive during REM sleep, those controlling the eyes and breathing remain active. These muscles continue functioning so that the body can maintain essential physiological processes. Even subtle movements of the eyes during REM sleep reflect neural activity within visual areas of the brain. These rapid eye movements may correspond to shifts in the dream imagery being experienced. Across the night, These countless microscopic processes chemical signals, neural patterns, hormonal rhythms, and physiological adjustments work together in quiet coordination. Each mechanism contributes to the delicate balance that allows sleep to restore the brain and body. Though they unfold invisibly beneath the surface of rest, these interactions reveal just how intricate and dynamic the sleeping mind truly is. As sleep deepens through the night, attention can turn to an even smaller world within the body. Beneath the level of organs, beneath the networks of neurons, countless microscopic processes unfold. These tiny events occur within cells, between molecules, and across the delicate boundaries that separate one structure from another. Though invisible to the naked eye, these processes play an essential role in maintaining the health and stability of the brain. While the sleeper remains unaware, the body quietly manages chemical balances, molecular exchanges, and cellular maintenance that keep neural systems functioning smoothly. Inside every neuron, electrical signals travel along microscopic structures called axons. These signals depend on the movement of charged particles, primarily sodium and potassium, ions across the cell membrane. During wakefulness, neurons fire rapidly as they process information from the senses and coordinate thoughts, movements, and decisions. Each electrical impulse requires energy and creates small shifts in the chemical environment inside the cell. Sleep allows neurons to rebalance these conditions. Ion channels embedded in the cell membrane regulate the flow of charged particles, gradually restoring stable electrical gradients. These gradients are essential because they allow neurons to generate new signals the following day. Without time to reset these ionic balances, neural communication would become inefficient. Energy for these processes is produced within tiny cellular structures called mitochondria. These organelles generate the molecules that power nearly every activity within the cell. During sleep, cellular metabolism continues working to maintain energy supplies. Mitochondria quietly produce the chemical fuel needed to support neural activity throughout the night. Within neurons, proteins are constantly being synthesized, folded, and transported to different parts of the cell. Sleep appears to support this ongoing process of protein production. These proteins help maintain synapses, the microscopic junctions where neurons communicate with one another. Synapses themselves are incredibly small, often measuring only a fraction of a micrometer. Yet they form the basis of all communication within the brain. During sleep, the structure of synapses may undergo subtle adjustments. Some connections become slightly stronger, while others become weaker. This microscopic remodeling helps maintain efficient communication between neurons while preventing the brain from becoming overwhelmed by excessive signaling. Within the spaces between brain cells, chemical messengers called neurotransmitters carry signals from one neuron to the next. These molecules diffuse across tiny gaps known as synaptic clefts, binding to receptors on neighboring neurons. During wakefulness, neurotransmitter activity is often rapid and intense as the brain processes incoming information. During sleep, patterns of neurotransmitter release change. Certain signaling molecules decrease, while others support the maintenance of sleep states. One example is the neurotransmitter acetylcholine. Levels of acetylcholine tend to be lower during deep non-REM sleep, but rise again during REM sleep. This shift in acetylcholine activity contributes to the distinct neural patterns seen during different sleep stages. At the same time, other neurotransmitters such as serotonin and norepinephrine reduce their activity during REM sleep. These chemical changes create the unusual neurological environment that allows dreaming to occur. Another microscopic process occurring during sleep involves the movement of cerebrospinal fluid through spaces surrounding brain cells. This fluid carries nutrients and removes metabolic waste products that accumulate during waking hours. During deep sleep, the flow of cerebrospinal fluid through the brain appears to increase. This enhanced circulation helps remove substances produced by normal cellular metabolism. Among the substances cleared during this process are proteins that accumulate as neurons perform their daily work. Removing these molecules helps maintain the delicate chemical balance required for healthy neural activity. At the level of individual cells, sleep also supports the maintenance of cellular membranes. Cell membranes consist of complex layers of lipids and proteins that regulate the exchange of substances between the inside and outside of the cell. During sleep, the processes responsible for repairing and maintaining these membranes continue working quietly. These repairs help ensure that neurons remain capable of transmitting electrical signals efficiently. Another important molecular system active during sleep involves enzymes. Enzymes are specialized proteins that accelerate chemical reactions inside cells. Many metabolic reactions depend on enzymes to proceed at the appropriate speed. During sleep, enzymes continue regulating reactions that support cellular repair, energy metabolism, and the recycling of biological molecules. Within the nucleus of each neuron lies the cell's genetic material, encoded in DNA. Genes within this DNA can be activated or suppressed depending on the needs of the cell. Sleep appears to influence the expression of certain genes involved in neural plasticity, metabolism, and cellular maintenance. When genes are activated, they direct the cell to produce specific proteins needed for structural repair or functional adjustment. These genetic processes unfold slowly, often requiring hours to complete. Sleep provides the quiet environment necessary for these cellular instructions to be carried out. Another microscopic component of neurons involves dendritic spines. These tiny protrusions extend from dendrites and serve as sites where synapses form. Their shape and number can change as the brain learns and adapts. During sleep, some dendritic spines become stabilized while others retract. This process helps refine neural networks, strengthening useful connections while removing unnecessary ones. Within the extracellular space, the fluid-filled region between sations and molecules diffuse slowly through brain tissue. The concentration of these substances can influence how easily neurons fire. During sleep, the balance of these extracellular chemicals shifts slightly as neural activity patterns change. These changes help support the slower, synchronized firing patterns characteristic of deep sleep. Another microscopic element influencing sleep involves calcium ions inside neurons. Calcium plays a key role in signaling pathways that regulate synaptic strength and cellular activity. During sleep, calcium signaling contributes to the processes that modify synapses and stabilize memories. Cells also contain internal recycling systems, known as lysosomes. These structures break down damaged proteins and cellular components so they can be reused or safely removed. Sleep provides time for these recycling systems to operate efficiently. Through this process, cells maintain a clean internal environment that supports long-term neural health. Another important structure within neurons is the cytoskeleton. This network of microscopic fibers helps maintain the shape of the cell and supports the transport of molecules along axons and dendrites. During sleep, cellular transport mechanisms continue moving proteins and other molecules to their appropriate destinations. These movements ensure that distant parts of the neuron receive the materials needed for maintenance and repair. Even the small spaces surrounding neurons change slightly during sleep. Research suggests that these spaces expand modestly during deep sleep. This expansion may facilitate the movement of cerebrospinal fluid through brain tissue, supporting the clearance of metabolic waste. Within each neuron, electrical impulses depend on the coordinated opening and closing of ion channels embedded in the cell membrane. These channels regulate the flow of sodium, potassium, and other ions. Sleep allows these channels to reset their functional states after a day of repeated activation. Across billions of neurons, this resetting process restores the brain's ability to transmit signals efficiently. Although each individual molecular event may seem tiny, together they form a vast network of microscopic maintenance activities. While the sleeper rests, trillions of molecular interactions quietly unfold throughout the brain. Each ion movement, each protein repair, and each cellular adjustment contributes to maintaining the health of neural systems. Through these delicate and continuous processes, sleep sustains the microscopic foundation upon which every thought, memory, and perception depends. And beneath the stillness of the night, this invisible world continues its quiet work. As the science of sleep continued to develop, researchers gradually learned that observing sleep directly was far more complex than simply watching a resting person. From the outside, a sleeping body appears quiet and still, but inside the brain, a great deal of activity is unfolding. Understanding this activity required new tools capable of detecting subtle biological signals. Over the past century, scientists have developed a variety of methods for measuring sleep. These techniques allow researchers to observe brain waves, eye movements, breathing patterns, muscle activity, and even the chemistry of the blood while a person sleeps. Through careful measurement, sleep has become one of the most studied biological states in modern science. One of the earliest breakthroughs in sleep research came with the invention of electroencephalography, often abbreviated as EEG. This technique records the electrical activity of the brain using small electrodes placed on the scalp. The electrodes detect tiny voltage changes produced when large groups of neurons fire together. These electrical patterns create the brain waves that scientists use to identify different stages of sleep. When researchers began recording EEG signals during sleep, they discovered that sleep was not a uniform state. Instead, the brain passed through distinct stages, each with its own recognizable pattern of electrical activity. Slow, high-amplitude waves marked the deepest stages of sleep, while faster and more irregular patterns appeared during REM sleep. These discoveries allowed scientists to map the structure of sleep cycles for the first time. By analyzing EEG recordings across the night, researchers could see exactly when each stage began and ended. Another important measurement in sleep studies involves eye movements. Electrooculography, or EOG, tracks the electrical signals produced when the eyes move beneath closed eyelids. During REM sleep, the eyes move rapidly from side to side, producing the distinctive signals that gave this stage its name. Muscle activity is also monitored in many sleep experiments. Electromyography, known as EMG, measures electrical activity in muscles using sensors placed on the skin. During REM sleep, EMG recordings show a dramatic reduction in muscle activity. This confirms the presence of the temporary muscle paralysis that prevents people from acting out their dreams. Together, EEG, EOG, and EMG recordings form the foundation of a comprehensive sleep study known as polysomnography. Polysomnography allows researchers and clinicians to observe multiple physiological signals simultaneously while a person sleeps. In addition to brain waves and muscle activity, sleep laboratories often measure breathing patterns. Sensors placed near the nose and mouth detect airflow during each breath. These measurements help identify irregular breathing events that may occur during sleep. Oxygen levels in the blood can also be monitored using a technique called pulse oximetry. A small sensor placed on a finger measures how much oxygen is circulating in the bloodstream. Drops in oxygen levels during sleep can indicate disruptions in breathing. Heart activity is frequently recorded as well. Electrocardiography, or EKG, tracks the electrical signals produced by the beating heart. Changes in heart rhythm across sleep stages can reveal how the cardiovascular system responds to different phases of rest. Body movement is another variable scientists measure when studying sleep. Sensitive motion sensors or wearable devices can detect even small shifts in body position throughout the night. These movements can provide clues about how often a person transitions between sleep stages. In recent years, new technologies have allowed sleep researchers to observe the brain in even greater detail. Functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, measures changes in blood flow within different regions of the brain. By observing these patterns, scientists can identify which areas of the brain become more or less active during different stages of sleep. Another imaging technique, positron emission tomography, allows researchers to track metabolic activity within brain tissue. These studies have shown that some brain regions become highly active during REM sleep, even while the body remains still. Modern sleep research also relies heavily on computer analysis. Large datasets collected during sleep studies are processed using specialized algorithms that identify patterns in brain activity. These analyses help researchers understand how sleep stages shift over time and how different signals interact. In addition to laboratory studies, scientists sometimes examine sleep in natural environments. Portable monitoring devices allow researchers to record sleep patterns while individuals remain in their own homes. These devices track variables such as heart rate, body movement, and breathing. Although they do not capture as much detail as full laboratory studies, they provide valuable information about sleep in everyday conditions. Researchers also conduct controlled experiments to understand how sleep responds to changes in behavior or environment. Participants may be asked to stay awake longer than usual, change their sleep schedules, or sleep under different lighting conditions. Scientists then measure how these changes affect sleep architecture and physiology. These experiments have revealed how sensitive sleep is to disruptions. Even small changes in sleep schedules can alter the timing of sleep stages. Researchers also study sleep deprivation to understand how the body compensates for lost rest. After extended periods of wakefulness, the brain often enters deep sleep more quickly during recovery sleep. This phenomenon is sometimes referred to as sleep rebound. REM sleep can also rebound after being suppressed. When REM sleep is reduced for several nights, the brain often increases the duration of REM sleep during subsequent nights. Animal studies have also contributed significantly to sleep science. Researchers observe sleep patterns in mammals, birds, and other animals to understand how sleep evolved and how it functions across species. These studies have revealed surprising similarities between human sleep and the sleep patterns of other vertebrates. Even small laboratory animals such as mice display recognizable REM and non-REM sleep cycles. Studying animals allows scientists to investigate sleep at levels that would not be possible in human subjects. Researchers can examine individual neurons, genetic activity, and chemical signaling within the brain. Genetic studies have identified specific genes that influence circadian rhythms and sleep timing. Mutations in these genes can alter sleep patterns dramatically. By studying these genetic mechanisms, scientists gain insight into how sleep is regulated at the molecular level. Long-term sleep studies also help researchers understand how sleep patterns change across the lifespan. Participants may be monitored for years or even decades. These longitudinal studies reveal how aging, lifestyle, and health conditions influence sleep over time. Data from these studies help scientists identify trends in sleep duration, sleep quality, and circadian timing. Sleep research is also closely connected to medical practice. Sleep laboratories often diagnose conditions such as sleep apnea, narcolepsy, and restless legs syndrome. Accurate measurements allow clinicians to recommend treatments that restore healthy sleep patterns. In recent years, wearable technology has expanded the ability to track sleep outside of research laboratories. Many modern devices estimate sleep stages by analyzing heart rate, movement, and breathing patterns. Although these consumer devices are less precise than laboratory instruments, they provide valuable insight into general sleep habits. Large datasets collected from wearable devices are now being used in population-level sleep research. Scientists analyze patterns across thousands or millions of individuals. This large-scale data helps researchers identify trends in sleep duration, circadian timing, and lifestyle influences. As measurement technology continues to improve, researchers are gaining an increasingly detailed picture of sleep. Every signal recorded each brainwave, breath, or heartbeat adds another layer of understanding. Through careful observation and measurement, scientists continue uncovering the hidden dynamics of the sleeping brain. And with each new method of detection, the quiet science of sleep becomes just a little clearer. As sleep settles gently over the body each night, its effects extend far beyond the brain alone. The entire organism participates in this nightly state, with systems throughout the body adjusting their activity to support rest, recovery, and balance. Breathing, circulation, digestion, immunity, and sensory perception all shift in quiet coordination. These physiological adjustments are subtle, yet they reveal how deeply sleep is woven into the fabric of biological life. Rather than affecting only the mind, sleep acts as a shared rhythm that guides the functioning of nearly every organ system. One of the most noticeable changes during sleep involves the cardiovascular system. As non-REM sleep deepens, heart rate gradually slows and blood pressure decreases. This nightly reduction in cardiovascular workload gives the heart and blood vessels a period of relative rest. The parasympathetic branch of the nervous system becomes more dominant during these deeper stages of sleep. This branch is often associated with relaxation and recovery, helping regulate many of the body's restorative functions. Breathing patterns also shift when sleep begins. In non-REM sleep, respiration becomes slower and more regular compared with the variability seen during waking hours. The body settles into a steady rhythm that reflects the calmer activity of the nervous system. During REM sleep, however, breathing can become more irregular. Signals from brainstem respiratory centers fluctuate more strongly, producing subtle variations in breathing rate and depth. Muscle tone throughout the body changes significantly during sleep as well. As the brain transitions into deeper stages, skeletal muscles gradually relax. This relaxation conserves energy and prevents unnecessary movement during rest. The most dramatic reduction in muscle activity occurs during REM sleep. In this stage, signals from the brainstem suppress most voluntary muscle movement, creating a temporary state of near paralysis. This condition, often called REM atonia, serves a protective function. By limiting muscle movement, the body avoids physically acting out the vivid dreams that occur during REM sleep. Despite this widespread muscle relaxation, certain muscles remain active. The muscles that control breathing, eye movement, and some facial expressions continue functioning throughout the night. These active muscles allow essential processes such as respiration to continue uninterrupted. They also produce the rapid eye movements that give REM sleep its name. Sleep also influences the regulation of body temperature. As evening approaches, core body temperature gradually declines. This cooling effect signals the body that it is time to prepare for sleep. Throughout the night, body temperature remains slightly lower than during the day. As morning approaches, temperature slowly rises again, helping prepare the body for waking. The immune system becomes particularly active during sleep. Immune cells communicate through signaling molecules known as cytokines, coordinating the body's response to potential threats. Some of these immune signals increase during sleep, helping the body strengthen its defenses against infection. This may explain why illness often feels more severe when sleep has been insufficient. Sleep also supports the formation of immune memory. After vaccination or infection, the immune system must learn to recognize specific pathogens. Adequate sleep appears to support this learning process by helping immune cells organize their responses more effectively. The digestive system continues operating during sleep, although at a slower pace. Muscular movements within the digestive tract decrease, and enzyme production adjusts to nighttime conditions. Because digestion slows, eating large meals shortly before bedtime can sometimes interfere with sleep comfort. The body must divide its resources between digestion and rest. Hormonal activity also changes significantly during sleep. Many hormones follow daily cycles coordinated with the circadian rhythm. Growth hormone, for example, is released in pulses during deep, slow-wave sleep. This hormone supports tissue repair, muscle maintenance, and metabolic regulation. In children and adolescents, these nighttime hormone releases are especially important for physical development. They contribute to bone growth and the strengthening of body tissues. Cortisol, another hormone, follows a different daily rhythm. Cortisol levels are usually lowest during the early part of the night. As morning approaches, cortisol levels begin to rise. This increase helps prepare the body for waking and promotes alertness. Melatonin, the hormone associated with darkness, rises after sunset. Its presence signals the body that nighttime has arrived. Melatonin levels typically remain elevated throughout the night and gradually decline toward morning as light returns. Sleep also influences the regulation of appetite. Hormones such as leptin and ghrelin help signal feelings of fullness and hunger. When sleep becomes restricted, the balance between these hormones can shift. Appetite may increase, and cravings for energy-dense foods may become stronger. These hormonal changes illustrate how sleep contributes to maintaining metabolic balance within the body. The senses also behave differently during sleep. Sensory systems remain active, but their signals are processed differently by the brain. Sound is one of the most effective stimuli for waking a sleeping person. Even during deep sleep, certain noises can penetrate the brain's sensory filtering system. Meaningful sounds, such as a baby's cry or a person's name, are particularly likely to trigger awakening. The brain remains selectively responsive to signals that may require attention. Smell behaves somewhat differently during sleep. Odors are generally less likely to wake a sleeping person than loud sounds. This difference reflects how the brain prioritizes different sensory inputs during sleep. Vision, of course, is largely disconnected from the external world once the eyes are closed. Yet visual regions of the brain remain active during REM sleep. These internal signals generate the imagery experienced in dreams. Touch sensations can still be detected during sleep as well. A sudden change in temperature or pressure may trigger brief awakenings. However, the brain often suppresses minor tactile signals so that sleep can continue uninterrupted. Sleep also influences the perception of pain. Individuals who are well rested often show greater tolerance for discomfort. When sleep is insufficient, pain sensitivity can increase, suggesting that sleep plays a role in regulating sensory processing. Another physiological change during sleep involves fluid balance within the body. Kidney function and urine production follow circadian rhythms that adjust overnight. In healthy sleep patterns, nighttime urine production typically decreases. This allows longer periods of uninterrupted sleep. Sleep also influences breathing control within the brainstem. Specialized neural circuits monitor carbon dioxide and oxygen levels in the blood. These circuits adjust breathing automatically to maintain stable oxygen delivery throughout the night. Because these regulatory systems operate continuously, breathing remains effective even during deep sleep. Sleep further contributes to maintaining balance within the nervous system itself. Neural circuits involved in emotional regulation, memory processing, and sensory perception all undergo adjustments. These changes help ensure that the brain remains flexible and responsive to new experiences. Across the body, these physiological processes unfold quietly throughout the night. Each system contributes its own role to the broader rhythm of sleep. From the slowing of the heart to the regulation of hormones and immune responses, sleep functions as a shared state that coordinates the activity of the entire organism. Though the sleeper remains unaware of these processes, they represent an intricate choreography occurring within every resting body. And as night deepens, these quiet adjustments continue maintaining balance, restoring energy, and preparing the body for the next day's waking life. As the night passes quietly, some processes unfold so slowly that they are difficult to notice from one evening to the next. Sleep does not only restore the body in a single night. Many of its most important influences appear gradually, unfolding across weeks, months, and even years. These long timescales reveal another side of sleep one in which small nightly adjustments accumulate into lasting changes in health, behavior, and brain function. One of the most subtle long-term effects of sleep involves the stability of circadian rhythms. When people maintain consistent sleep and wake schedules, the internal clock gradually becomes more synchronized with daily routines. Over time, this stability strengthens the timing of hormone release, body temperature cycles, and patterns of alertness. A regular sleep schedule therefore helps reinforce the body's biological rhythms. When sleep schedules vary widely from day to day, however, the circadian system can become less stable. The internal clock must constantly readjust, which can weaken the precision of these rhythms. Over weeks and months, consistent patterns of sleep can therefore shape how smoothly the body transitions between wakefulness and rest. Another slow influence of sleep appears in learning and memory. Individual nights of sleep help stabilize newly learned information, but long-term sleep patterns shape how efficiently the brain continues learning. Consistently adequate sleep allows neural networks to reorganize repeatedly, refining connections and strengthening useful pathways across time. Over years, these nightly processes may contribute to the brain's long-term adaptability. Sleep also influences emotional resilience in ways that unfold gradually. Regular, restful sleep supports balanced communication between emotional centers of the brain and regions responsible for regulation and reasoning. When sleep is disrupted for long periods, emotional responses may become less stable. This slow shift can influence mood and stress tolerance over time. The immune system also shows long-term sensitivity to sleep patterns. Each night of sleep supports immune coordination, but chronic sleep restriction may gradually weaken immune defenses. Over extended periods, this reduced efficiency may increase vulnerability to illness. Sleep also contributes to metabolic balance across long timescales. Hormones regulating hunger, energy storage, and glucose metabolism follow rhythms linked to sleep patterns. When sleep remains consistent, these hormonal cycles remain stable. Over time, this stability helps support healthy metabolism. If sleep becomes chronically shortened or irregular, metabolic regulation can slowly drift out of balance. Long-term sleep patterns also influence cardiovascular health. Night after night, the body experiences a natural decline in blood pressure during sleep. This repeated period of reduced cardiovascular strain allows the heart and blood vessels time to recover. If sleep becomes fragmented or insufficient over long periods, the body may experience fewer of these restorative intervals. Sleep also affects how the brain responds to stress across time. With regular sleep, the nervous system can maintain balanced communication between stress-related and regulatory brain regions. Over months or years, chronic sleep disruption may shift this balance, making stress responses more intense or harder to regulate. The brain's ability to maintain attention also reflects cumulative sleep patterns. While a single poor night may reduce focus temporarily, long-term sleep habits shape overall cognitive performance. Consistent sleep supports sustained attention and mental clarity across time. Creativity and problem-solving may also benefit from long-term sleep stability. Many creative insights arise after periods of rest, when the brain has had time to reorganize information. Over time, repeated cycles of sleep may strengthen the brain's ability to form new associations between ideas. Sleep patterns can also influence mood stability over extended periods. Regular sleep tends to support consistent emotional regulation. When sleep schedules become irregular, mood fluctuations may gradually increase. Another slow change influenced by sleep involves aging. As people grow older, sleep architecture gradually shifts. Deep, slow-wave sleep becomes less frequent, and awakenings during the night may become more common. Although total sleep needs may remain similar, the structure of sleep slowly evolves across decades. Sleep may also influence long-term brain health. Researchers continue exploring how sleep patterns relate to the maintenance of healthy neural tissue. Because sleep supports processes that clear metabolic byproducts from the brain, long-term sleep habits may influence how efficiently these processes operate. Sleep also affects learning across the lifespan. Students, professionals, and researchers all rely on the brain's ability to absorb and retain information. Over years of education and experience, consistent sleep supports the repeated consolidation of new knowledge. Language learning provides one example of this gradual influence. Vocabulary, grammar patterns, and pronunciation improve slowly through repeated cycles of practice and sleep. Motor skills show similar patterns. Athletes, musicians, and craftsmen refine their abilities through training followed by rest. Across months and years, the brain repeatedly strengthens the neural pathways involved in these movements. Sleep also contributes to the long-term regulation of appetite and body weight. Hormonal systems controlling hunger operate most effectively when sleep patterns remain stable. When sleep becomes irregular for extended periods, appetite regulation may gradually shift. Sleep timing itself can slowly drift when schedules change. For example, individuals who repeatedly stay awake late into the night may gradually shift their circadian rhythm later. Conversely, consistent early waking can gradually shift the rhythm earlier. These gradual adjustments illustrate how flexible the circadian system can be. Environmental influences also shape sleep across long timescales. Exposure to daylight, work schedules, and lifestyle habits all contribute to the timing of sleep. Over time, these factors help establish an individual's typical sleep pattern. Seasonal changes in daylight can also influence sleep timing. In regions with large differences between summer and winter daylight hours, circadian rhythms may shift slightly across the year. Long summer days may delay sleep onset, while shorter winter days may encourage earlier sleep. Over many years, individuals also develop personal sleep habits and routines. Bedtime rituals, evening activities, and environmental preferences gradually shape how easily sleep begins each night. These habits can strengthen the cues that signal the body to prepare for rest. Long-term sleep research has revealed how these patterns evolve across decades. Scientists sometimes follow groups of individuals for many years to observe how sleep changes across the lifespan. These long studies help identify trends in sleep duration, sleep quality, and circadian timing. Through this research, scientists have learned that sleep is not fixed, but continues evolving throughout life. The body adjusts its rhythms gradually in response to age, environment, and lifestyle. Across time, sleep therefore reflects a continuous dialogue between biology and experience. Each night contributes a small adjustment to this ongoing process. And while these changes may be too subtle to notice from one day to the next, they quietly shape the rhythms of human life. Night after night, year after year, sleep continues performing its slow and steady work. And as the quiet rhythm of sleep continues through the night, the body gradually approaches the calmest and most reflective moments of rest. These final thoughts about sleep are not about dramatic discoveries or complex systems, but about the gentle steadiness of a process that quietly accompanies every living day. Sleep is not something that demands attention while it is happening. Instead, it works quietly in the background of life, restoring balance in ways that often go unnoticed. Each evening, the transition into sleep begins almost imperceptibly. Muscles soften, breathing steadies, and the mind slowly releases the focus it held during the day. Thoughts that once seemed urgent begin to lose their sharp edges. Attention drifts, and awareness gently withdraws from the outside world. In these moments, the brain is not shutting down. Rather, it is shifting into a different mode of activity, one that allows restoration, reflection, and quiet internal organization. Throughout the night, the brain revisits patterns of activity formed during the day. Memories are strengthened or adjusted, and neural connections subtly reorganize themselves. This process unfolds without effort or awareness. The sleeper does not guide it consciously. The brain simply performs the work it has evolved to do. Sleep also offers a quiet interval for the body itself. Muscles that carried movement during the day remain still, and the heart settles into a slower rhythm. Breathing becomes calm and steady, rising and falling in a pattern that continues hour after hour. These rhythms provide a gentle stability that contrasts with the constant motion of waking life. Sleep also reflects one of the most universal patterns found in living systems. From small insects to large mammals, nearly all animals experience some form of daily rest. Despite the enormous differences between species, the need for periodic restoration appears again and again throughout the natural world. Even animals with very different lifestyles have developed ways to protect this time of rest. Some sleep briefly but often. Others sleep deeply for long stretches. Still others rest in ways that allow part of the brain to remain alert. These variations highlight how flexible sleep can be while still serving its essential purpose. For humans, sleep provides a nightly pause in the constant flow of experience. During this time, the body and brain quietly maintain the systems that support waking life. The immune system coordinates its defenses, metabolic processes rebalance energy, and neural circuits reset their activity. These processes occur quietly, without the need for conscious effort. Sleep also reminds us that not all progress happens while we are actively working or thinking. Sometimes the most important adjustments occur during stillness. During the quiet hours of the night, the brain continues organizing knowledge, strengthening skills, and refining emotional responses. These gentle adjustments prepare the mind for the challenges and opportunities of the coming day. The relationship between sleep and wakefulness is therefore not a simple division between activity and rest. Instead, the two states support each other. Wakefulness gathers experiences, ideas, and information. Sleep quietly arranges and stabilizes them. Together, they form a continuous cycle that allows learning, adaptation, and recovery. This cycle repeats every day of life, from infancy to old age. Over a lifetime, thousands of nights of sleep accumulate, each contributing small adjustments that support long-term health. Although sleep feels ordinary because it occurs so often, it remains one of the most remarkable biological processes. Within the stillness of sleep, countless systems coordinate their activity in careful balance. The brain reorganizes itself, the body restores its strength, and biological rhythms prepare for the next sunrise. And yet, from the perspective of the sleeper, this extraordinary activity feels almost invisible. Sleep simply arrives, gently and naturally. Night after night, it returns without invitation. It asks for no effort, no decision, and no attention. It simply unfolds. And as the body drifts deeper into the quiet patterns of rest, the steady rhythm of sleep continues its patient work, calm, consistent, and endlessly renewing.